In a back-and-forth divisional game, the Buffalo Bills found a way to get to 7-2. My top takeaways from the Bills' win over the Dolphins are coming your way today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of Go Bills and Buffalo's Run, also the co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Happy Victory Monday to you. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Miami Dolphins 30-27 and improved to 7-2 on the season. Folks, the Buffalo Bills didn't necessarily have their best stuff on offense today. They didn't have their best stuff on defense for sure, but they found a way. And good football teams find ways to win football games. We'll get into things that I like. We'll get into things that I didn't like. Want to talk trades with the trade deadline just a couple of days away. We'll talk about what's next, all of that. But I think this game came down to three massive plays that the Bills made. Number one, the Taron Johnson peanut punch. Is the opening drive of the third quarter. The Dolphins are moving the ball with ease. Miami has a chance to open up a 17-6 lead. It's 1st and 10 for them at the plus 48, the Bills 48. Raheem Mostert gains 7 yards on first down. Taron Johnson knocks out the football. Kaiir Elam recovers it. The Bills get the ball back and take a lead. So from staring at 17-6 in terms of a deficit to a turnover and a touchdown was a massive swing in the ball game. The second massive play that I thought was decisive in this win, late in the third quarter, the Dolphins are leading again 13-12. Josh Allen to Ray Davis for a 63-yard touchdown reception. Josh was rewarded for how he played this game. Miami took away everything deep. They dared him to stay patient. They dared him to take the short throws, and he did. He took the short stuff. Ray Davis breaks a tackle and houses it for a 63-yard touchdown to give the Bills the lead. And then, of course, Tyler Bass from 61 yards out wins the game. A franchise record, the longest kick made in the history of the Buffalo Bills. Tyler Bass, 61 yards to beat the Miami Dolphins. I hope this is a turning point in his career. It's been a very challenging stretch going back to about midway through last year. Even in this game, right? He missed an extra point, had another one go off the uprights, but he comes through. And for so many of us, we believe that a lot of this is mental for Tyler Bass. If a game-winning field goal from 61 yards out isn't a confidence boost, I don't know what is. Hopefully you saw the video coming out of the locker room. Very emotional. And so cool to see. Tyler Bass. I'll be honest, when the Bills attempted that field goal, I was just hoping that it was in the right zip code of the uprights. And Bass drilled it. You see the video from kind of like the ground, you can see there was room to spare. Room to spare. I mean, as pure of a kick as you can have. Under those circumstances, in that football game, I thought Miami was going to have a chance there to have a Hail Mary or something. Drills it from 61 yards out. 3 huge plays. There's other big plays. We're going to get into all of it. But that peanut punch from Taron Johnson, the Ray Davis 63-yard touchdown, Tyler Bass from 61 yards out to win the game. Huge. Found a way. Let's get into things I liked offensively. The Bills left a lot of points out there, but they still had a good game. Of course, they punted on the opening possession, but that's it. 6 scoring drives over their last 7 possessions. Only 8 possessions in this game for the Bills. Defense didn't really do their part. Only 8 possessions, 6 scoring drives over the last 7. The only one that wasn't a scoring drive was Keon Coleman's interception. I'm putting that on him. Come on now. Josh Allen has thrown 2 interceptions in the last 2 games, and neither was a turnover-worthy throw. Should have been a touchdown reception. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but especially in the second half, this offense coming to life. 3 touchdown drives in a row, then the game-winning field goal drive. Heck of a second half for the offense. Coming away in total with 30 points, 24 first downs, 6 of 11 on possession downs. Possession downs means 3rd and 4th down. 325 total yards. It's a good day for the offense. How about Josh Allen in this game? Like I already said, played the game he had to. 25 of 39, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns, throwing the ball. And of those 39 attempts, I'm pretty sure 35 were within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. Miami lived in this world where they said, Josh, we don't think you're going to be patient. We don't think you're going to take the deep stuff. You're not going to take the short stuff. You're going to want to push it deep. Eventually, you're going to give us you're going to leave the ball out there for a takeaway. And Josh didn't give that to him. He did not give that to him. He played patient. Of course, Ray Davis coming through with the massive touchdown catch. Mack Hollins on that 4th down. Nice little play there for a touchdown. Mack Hollins, credit to him, 5 catches on 5 targets for 30 yards and a touchdown. The only guy that generated any offense on the game-winning drive. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. And then Josh Allen's touchdown pass to Quintin Morris is insane. Just an absolutely insane play on 3rd down. I mean, he's like getting tackled. I mean, it looks like the Bills were going to have to either make a choice to kick a field goal or go for it on 4th down. And Josh figures it out, flips one out to Quintin Morris. Are you kidding me? I mean, one of the most ridiculous plays you'll ever see. Special quarterback. I can do rare things. So, no, I don't think it was all clicking for the passing game. Obviously, they had to play the game a little differently than they wanted to, but still figured it out, stayed patient, and got it done. And still some really special moments from Josh in this game. How about the running backs in this game? Mostly terrific. And they all contributed. James Cook, 15 touches, 69 yards. Ty Johnson, 3 touches for 23 yards. Ray Davis, 8 touches for 90 yards. Your 3 backs combined for 26 touches and 182 yards. The one blemish being James Cook's drop. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But that's a lot of those guys being able to kind of figure it out in a game where you needed them to catch the ball a little bit. And a game, of course, where you wanted to have that stabilizing run game that was okay. For the most part, was okay. I don't think it was dominant at any point, but it certainly had its moments. It wasn't a negative. But still, they found a way to, 26 touches for 182 yards for the Bills' backs. That's a big deal. And then real quick, we'll get to things I like defensively. And there's not a whole lot. Taron Johnson, we talked about it, the forced fumble, a huge play in the game. And then I thought Greg Rousseau was terrific. 7 tackles, a sack, 3 tackles for loss, a quarterback hit. I mean, the defensive line wasn't doing much. Greg Rousseau showed up. And the play that he made on the very last play, of course, Miami gets the ball with 5 seconds left in the game. And, I mean, they got a ton of speed. So I was pretty nervous about, making sure that the Bills could seal that win. And he's able to stay right on top of Jalen Waddle, keep working him backwards. And eventually, Waddle had nowhere to throw the ball. He has to throw it backwards. Nobody was there for him. Greg Rousseau makes that tackle to close out the game. So you kind of like that in a game where it wasn't really clicking for you on offense or defense. In critical moments, you find ways to make some big plays to get yourself a win, a hard-fought win in a back-and-forth game. Probably a really fun game to watch if you weren't a Bills or a Dolphins fan, right? Stressful football game. All right, coming up on the other side of it, there's quite a bit I wanted to get into special teams wise. Very underrated function of this game that I thought was terrific. And I got a pretty long list of things I didn't like. So, folks, be sure to stick with me. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhoodgold.com. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. I personally love that Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get money in as quick as 15 minutes. And Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today. Use our code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, folks, the notebook is full today. Let's keep it going here. I want to talk about things I liked about special teams. Of course, Tyler Bass, game-winning 61-yard field goal. Incredible. Incredible. But there's more. Sam Martin only got one chance to punt in this game. 49-yard net and a huge tackle from Cam Lewis. Got down there, made a big-time tackle. Brandon Codrington, only one opportunity for a return in this game. Fields the ball off the hop, a punt return. Takes it 29 yards, sets the Bills up at the plus 37, a short field. And then don't sleep on this one, the kickoff team. Now, Miami eventually goes 11 plays, 81 yards in 4 minutes and 40 seconds to tie it, but we'll go with process over results. Miami is forced to return the ball after the Bills take a 27-20 lead. Bass was perfect on this kick. He landed it just shy of the goal line. And if it lands shy of the goal line, even if it bounces into the end zone, they got to return it. And so they do. And Cole Bishop comes up with a big tackle. And Miami starts that drive at the 19 as opposed to a touchback as the 30. To me, that's 11. They talk about hidden yards. They're not hidden. They're right there. That's an 11-yard play for the Bills. So, yeah, the 61-yard field goal from Bass, we love it. He also made from 40 and 49. So, of course, he misses an extra point, but field goals, 40, 49, and 61. Sam Martin, 49-yard net, big-time tackle from Cam Lewis. Brandon Codrington, 29-yard punt return to shut the Bills up with a short field. And then Cole Bishop with the big tackle, perfect kick from Bass on the kickoff, forces a return. They start the ball at the 19 and not the 30. Now let's talk about things I didn't like. I know the Bills won the game, but there are some things here that just are tough to take. We'll start with some of the officiating, and I've said it before, I am not one to talk about officiating, but we had some ridiculous calls in this game. Starting with the unnecessary roughness call on Taylor Rapp. I mean, you had Miami in a 3rd and 11. They convert it on a 17-yard pass to Raheem Mostert on a dump down. And Taylor Rapp gets called for a 15-yard personal foul for unnecessary roughness. Absolutely bogus call. If anybody should have been called for a flag, it should have been Mostert. He's the one that initiated contact with the crown of his helmet into Rapp's face mask. A ridiculous call. 15 yards. You can't just give teams 15 yards when they don't deserve it. Insane. Here's 15% of the field when our guy didn't even do anything wrong. How about those 2 holds before the half? Absolutely ridiculous. 1st and 10 from the 11. Dion Dawkins is called for a hold on a textbook snatch trap. It's not holding. On no planet is it holding. Got NFL offensive linemen telling you very clearly on Twitter that it's not holding. I know that I'm a Bills fan, so I'm biased, whatever. Come on, man. Not a chance that was a hold. And even less of a hold was the 1st and 20 play where Josh Allen has a crazy touchdown run. They call holding on Osiris Torrance. Not even remotely close. Not even a little bit close. Taking a 20-yard touchdown away from Josh Allen. Ridiculous. The Bills wind up not getting a touchdown. They get a field goal. That's ridiculous. The Bills get 4 penalties for 40 yards in this game. Those were 3 of them. 2 ridiculous holds and a ridiculous unnecessary roughness call on Taylor Rapp. The other one I didn't like. Von Miller jumps off sides. And the Bills wind up stopping the Dolphins, which was pretty rare. They stop him on the Dolphins on 3rd down. But because 5 yards is good enough for a first down, I think it was 3rd and 3, Von goes off sides. Fresh set of downs for the Miami Dolphins. I don't like drops that take away touchdowns. Congratulations to Keon Coleman for beating Jalen Ramsey in the red zone. Should have been a touchdown catch, but you got to catch it. Goes through his hands, off his shoulder pads. Up in the air, Jalen Ramsey picks it off. I mean, literally a easy touchdown catch turns into an interception. Big swing in the game. You wonder if the Bills get that, have that early lead, what the game script looks like from there. Nope. And that's part of relying on rookies, right? They make mistakes. They just do. I don't like James Cook dropping a touchdown pass either. So before those 2 holds that we're all rightfully upset about, James Cook out of the backfield, multiple steps on Anthony Walker. He's going to catch, turn, and run for a touchdown, drops the ball. We never have to see any of that. We never have to see any of that sequence after that if James Cook just catches that ball and does the normal thing that most players would do 95% of the time. Look, this next one's going to feel weird to criticize, but again, process over results. The game-winning drive was ugly. You're lying to yourself if you don't think that was ugly. Thank you, Jordan Poyer. Thank you, Jordan Poyer. Because that was an ugly sequence. And I'm thinking, it's tie game. Josh Allen has 1:38 and a timeout. Go get a score, right? First play is a sack. Second play is incomplete. It's 3rd and 14. They go offsides. Thank you, Chop Robinson. To get it to 3rd and 9 from the 31 with 54 seconds left. I'm thinking, crap. Probably not going to convert this. Miami's going to have a chance with the ball. I can see Jason Sanders making the game-winning field goal, and I got to talk about losing to the Dolphins all week. Nah, Jordan Poyer. Jordan Poyer has to have a cheap one on Keon Coleman. Gives the Bills 15 yards and a fresh set of downs. And then it was still goofy after that. Josh Allen finds Mack Hollins for 7 yards. He finds him for 3 yards. But 2 more incompletions. I mean, on that game-winning drive, Josh was 2 for 6, not including the spike for 11 yards. And he was sacked for a 4-yard loss. It was not pretty. I mean, Tyler Bass had to make from 61. It's ugly. It works. It works. But if we're going to be true about process over results, come on now. That was the ugliest game-winning drive you'll ever see, but you'll take it. You'll take it. And look, I get it. No Amari Cooper, no Keon Coleman, your best 2 receivers. They started to send some pressure as well on that drive. I thought Coach Weaver from the Dolphins had some great ideas for how to send some pressure there and kind of had an understanding of where the Bills were going to want to target guys and made it very difficult. And the Bills couldn't find answers. Thank you, Jordan Poyer. Thanks a couple completions to Mack Hollins. And thank you, Tyler Bass. Let's talk about some things I didn't like on defense, which is pretty much everything. Give up 27 points, 373 yards. They go over 6 yards per play. Miami scores a touchdown on 3 of 4 red zone trips. They've been a bad red zone offense all year. They're 5 of 9 on possession downs. Tua goes 25 for 28. Pass rush, nowhere to be found. And I know that Tua gets the ball out of his hands very quickly, but even in those instances where he came off that first read and he was kind of surveying the field, Bills didn't get anywhere near him. Second level of the defense was an absolute mess. Dorian Williams, Terrell Bernard, even Taron Johnson with some really goofy fills. Couldn't make tackles. I mean, it was very difficult to get a stop in this game. And you really didn't get many stops. You got a stop on the first series of the game. And then they score every other drive except for when they kneeled out the half and Taron Johnson on the forced fumble. And they had long drives. 9 plays, 49 for a field goal. 14 plays, 97 yards. Touchdown. Took half the second quarter. 8 minutes and 21 seconds. 14 plays, 97 yards. 9 plays, 65 yards. 9 plays, 70 yards. 11 plays, 81 yards. That's a lot of production against you. Can't get incompletions, can't stop the run, can't stop them on possession downs. And look, Taron Johnson said the quiet part out loud that I've been preaching on this podcast for, it feels like a few years now, but especially this year. Taron Johnson, when asked about the rushing yards that the Dolphins got, Taron said they have great weapons on the outside, so we kind of let them run the ball so that we didn't give up explosive plays in the passing game. This is the Bills defense, right? They're inviting runs, and they're fine with allowing you to get some rushing production. So, like, everyone wants to lose their minds about run fits and gap integrity. And look, sometimes it is problematic, but the margin for error is so small. When you give light boxes all the time, you are putting a lot of stress to be right with everybody all the time in your front. And it's a big ask. Now, congratulations, you don't give up explosive plays in the passing game because of it. But they just couldn't get stops. And again, Taron Johnson said it out loud in his press conference. They let them run the ball. So you got to calibrate your expectations to understand that. The Bills are never going to be an amazing run defense. They don't want to be. They want you to run the ball. They want you to invite you to do the things that aren't correlative to scoring. And in this game, Miami was able to sustain drives and didn't necessarily make as many mistakes as you would expect them to make. But it's hard to reconcile that defensive performance when you're thinking about things you didn't like for the game. A defense stunk. Now, the good news is Miami's a unique offense that the Bills don't have to play again this year. But certainly expected more from the Bills on defense in this one. All right, coming up on the other side of it, there's a bunch of injuries we got to talk about and some trade deadline stuff we got to get into. My predictions, what's next. Folks, be sure to stick with me. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free online courses, including Constitution 101, Introduction to Free Market Economics, the Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and more. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register, hillsdale.edu/lockedon. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, folks, had some injuries pop up in this game. Obviously, the Bills go into this game with no Reggie Gilliam. Christian Benford misses the game with a wrist injury. Amari Cooper misses the game with a wrist injury. Feels like these wrist injuries are just crazy right now for the Bills. Then during the game, Dewan Smoot, wrist injury, ruled out, got x-rays, ruled out, so you have to assume that's going to be multiple weeks. Casey Tuhill had a knee injury, so that's another defensive end that hits the shelf. Kaiir Elam said his shoulder popped out. He finished the game, but I don't know what the deal is there. And then Keon Coleman on the Jordan Poyer play looks like a hand-wrist deal himself. So we'll wait and see what the diagnosis is on all of that, but got some important players here that are just banged up. Now, hopefully Benford and Cooper were more precautionary. Hopefully Coleman's nothing, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I guess continuing on things I didn't like, I want to talk about Curtis Samuel. He was healthy enough to go in this game, practiced in a limited capacity all week. And if there ever was a game where he could matter, this should have been it. Dolphins taking away everything deep, inviting short passes, and Curtis Samuel gets one target at the end of the game on kind of a throwaway. It's crazy to me that there's not production for him to find in this offense. Crazy to me. Joe Brady's gotten production out of Curtis Samuel, the best season of his career. Curtis Samuel's been a better player throughout his career. He's a nothing player for the Bills. Nothing. And in this game with no Amari Cooper, where they're inviting short passes, there's nothing for Curtis Samuel. It's pretty disappointing. And the Bills didn't have a lot of resources to work with this offseason. But they found room to sign Curtis Samuel to, was it 3 years, $21 million or something like that? Like, this was the move. And I think Brandon Beane had a good draft class. I think he's done some good things. But you look at the free agents that he added on. Again, I think he made good decisions on who to let go. But this free agent class of Curtis Samuel, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Nicholas Moreau, Mike Edwards. I mean, Dewan Smoot feels like the best one. It's not a whole lot to show from that class of players that you brought in. Again, limited resources. You didn't really didn't find a whole lot of value there in the bargain bin free agents. But if you did go out and do anything, like a few years ago, you found a way, Connor McGovern was your big move. That's been great. Curtis Samuel's been like nothing. It's not that he did something wrong in this game. It's just that he didn't do anything in a game that felt like it should have been ripe for him to matter, and he just didn't. Which gets me to the trade deadline. That's November 5th. I'm looking for some defensive line help. I need some pass rush. If I'm Brandon Beane, I'm getting something for this defensive line. I talked about guys last week on the podcast. The list is the same. Za'Darius Smith with the Browns, Arden Key with the Titans, Azeez Ojulari with the Giants, Sebastian Joseph-Day with the Titans, Jadeveon Clowney with the Panthers, Chase Young with the Saints, Eric Armstead with the Jaguars. Go get something. Go get something. You need more on this defensive line. Can't sniff Tua. Can't sniff Tua in huge downs late in the game where he's holding on to the ball. I can't watch the Bills not sniff Patrick Mahomes again in the playoffs. I can't do it. Go get some help here. Especially, Tuhill's hurt. Smoot's hurt. Need more. Need more from this pass rush. Need more from this defensive line. And there's players that should be available. I don't care about 5th and 6th round draft picks. Go get these players. Or go get a player that's going to help you out. Let's recap my predictions. I did terrible. This game script was a little bit different. I thought the Bills would be better on defense, obviously. And they gave up long drives that took up clock. That took away from some of the offensive production that I thought would be there. I think you could see that the Bills were able to move the ball, but between the defense not really showing up, between the red zone sequences, the points that were left on the board, it took away from my predictions being right. My first prediction was a season high in points allowed against Miami. The Bills would need 32 to accomplish that. They scored 30, so not enough. Predicted a third straight week with a 100-yard receiver for the Bills. That didn't happen. Ray Davis led the team in receiving with 70 yards. I predicted the Bills would get a season high in rushing yards allowed against Miami. That was 155 against Indy. No, the Bills get 94. and I predicted that the Bills would cover the spread. That didn't happen. The spread was 5.5. The Bills win by 3, so they didn't cover. But I did predict that the Bills would win, and that happened. So I go 1 for 4 this week. Yikes! Again, it's defensible though, right? Like, I didn't think the defense was going to be this bad, and I thought. Obviously, time of possession, third down efficiency, the red zone sequences did not help me be right about that stuff. What's next for the Bills? A road date going to the Indianapolis Colts Sunday, and then they host the Chiefs, a bye week, and then hosting the 49ers. So road date against the Colts, then you get to stay home for a little bit with the Chiefs and Niners, the bye week sandwiched in between. What's next for this podcast? You know it, all 22 review. We'll spend some time in the tape. When I say spend some time, I mean all day in the tape on Monday, and get the podcast up for you later in the day. And obviously Tuesday will be herd mentality. We'll obviously, if the Bills make a trade, we'll get that podcast up for you as quickly as I possibly can. And then we'll start to get ready for the Colts later in the week. Folks, don't miss anything. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills. And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.